I recently received a sizable IRS payment. Therefore, the amount of property theft that they are collecting from us in the guise of taxes has increased by 12% annually. The U.S. money supply has increased by almost 5% annually, which is another noteworthy statistic. The money supply has increased by 5%. Revenues from taxes are up 12%. How on earth has the deficit increased? That's what it would be like, guys, if you received a 12% rise, but your credit card bill increased nonetheless. The deficit should decrease if you're generating more revenue and printing more money. Despite tariffs that generated over $300 billion in revenue in a single month, tax revenues were down 12% year over year, and U.S. money growth was down 5% year over year. Our deficits increased. I hope that this clarifies for you that the U.S. government has a significant spending issue. I mean, no company in the world can function as well as the U.S. government and still be in operation today. And the reason for it is that the Fed and Treasury set up a system, spend outrageous sums of money, and impose a hidden tax on everyone. Our savings and the worth of the valuable items we purchase on a daily basis are devalued by inflation, which only becomes worse over time. And since cryptocurrencies like XRP can't be printed into oblivion like this, I hope you all see that they are the answer. Real sound money tends to benefit everyone far more than the never-ending downward spiral that every single global economy is going through. Additionally, I believe that this will hopefully open many people's eyes and increase awareness that something needs to be done about this. However, that is a slow process that is underway, and I am only contributing to its advancement. And yes, I sincerely hope that you all found some use for this. Please remember to check out the Gemini XRP card that I discussed before if you like today's article. There'll be a link below. I love you all very much. Next time, I'll see you. Goodbye. The pure reflection of the devil in the mirror, the departure door. I'm inclined to think that XRP is the answer in this case. Having said that, I would like to share a brief statement from the sponsor of today's video. Pay attention. Did you realize that your regular purchases can earn you XRP? The new Gemini credit card XRP edition, however, has no annual charge and delivers instant XRP rewards on purchases. Everything XRP rewards on purchases. Everything is included in your purchases, including grocery, restaurants, transit, EV, and gas. Like any other credit card, you can use it. You will receive up to 4% back in XRP or one of more than 50 other cryptocurrencies directly into your account when you purchase lunch, petrol, or your weekly grocery. You can use it anywhere in the globe where MasterCard is accepted because it is a MasterCard Globe Elite. Additionally, I use fiat money for all of my daily expenditures, which is why I adore this credit card. I already make a lot of purchases every day, so why wouldn't I want to earn some XRP back? It just makes sense. Go to gemini.com/LeviCrypto. The URL is in the description below to apply for the card. And if you spend $3,000 within the first 90 days, you will receive $200 in XRP. For further details, view the description, which includes the prices and costs. Let's examine and go a little more into the high level. Zoom out to see the larger picture from a high level. In the previous episode, I retrieved this tweet. I wanted to bring it back to life. According to the report, the United States government collected $344 billion in August. That comes from tariffs now. That means that the United States is making money, and making new money from this tariff policy. Well done. Only one issue, $689 billion was spent. In a single month, that amounts to a $345 billion deficit with a billion shortfall. You would double that $345 billion by 12 if you were to annualize it. Excuse me, but you've spent $3 trillion in deficit spending in a single year, utterly unsustainable. Why would I want to bring this up again? The Wall Street Journal reported in September 2025 that individual income tax payments in the United States for the fiscal year had risen by 12% year over year, indicating an increase in the amount of money collected from all of us in taxes, the plunder of our money through taxes. I want to discuss why I think this dip is excellent news, as well as the overall trend of what happens when we zoom out. According to Arthur Hayes' tweet, the TGA replenishment is nearly complete. The target is $850 billion, and only after this liquidity drain is over can we start up again. Alright, let's see what's happening here. Thus, the Treasury General's account, or TGA for short. According to Arthur, the Treasury General's account replenishment is nearly complete. Consider the account Replenishment is nearly complete. Consider the account of the Treasury General as it sounds. It's the Treasury Secretary. It is the U.S. government's checking account. There are occasions when the U.S. government has to replenish its checking account. What is a process for replenishing their checking account? How do they replenish their cash supply? They do, however, offer bonds, which are a form of market borrowing, because a large portion of the capital in Bitcoin is in assets which are floating around in the market and then used to support the government through the purchase of bonds. Arthur argues that when the Treasury does so, they are removing liquidity from the system. Is that logical? The U.S. government must therefore periodically replenish its checking account. Once that's done, we can continue to go higher, he concludes his tweet. By that, what does he mean? He is saying that we will keep rising because the Treasury will spend the money into the actual economy as soon as their checking account is full. The U.S. government itself is one of the largest consumers in the economy, and that money ends up in the economy, in gold, in the stock market, in real estate, and in Bitcoin. Thus, money is being deposited into the Treasury General account. That will drain the system's liquidity, and I believe that the reason this excites me so much is that Bitcoin remains the best representation of fiat liquidity, the best pulse, the best index, and the best heartbeat for determining the system's health and liquidity levels, all the way to the Treasury literally replenishing its money bucket and checking account. Just so everyone is aware, I believe that the market is experiencing severe liquidity problems. As I've been saying on this show, we live in two economies. The ultra-wealthy are one group, and everyone else is another. We'll go into more depth about that later in the podcast. There are a select few people who possess desired assets, and then there are everyone else. However, everyone else is still having difficulties. I believe that Bitcoin is responding to the Treasury's current depletion of liquidity, which is what you want as a Bitcoin holder. You don't want Bitcoin to be like the S&P 500, which is accumulating passive flows that support the Treasury market with its phony 10% annual rise, which essentially reflects the expansion of the M2 money supply. You want the escape valve to be Bitcoin. However, what do I believe is going on with the price of Bitcoin? The liquidity is dwindling. TGA replenishment. I believe that a sizable portion of the U.S. economy is extremely illiquid. Right now, capital is limited. However, what do I believe will occur? Fundamentally, I still think that the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government are acting to survive. There are several options available to them as they lie on their deathbed. A nuclear conflict? You can't invest in that. We're all gone. Or the US dollar is the outflow valve. Now is the time for you all to pay attention, since you will soon regret not taking advantage of what is currently happening. Everyone with two eyes and a brain who has studied this market for the past several years understands that something is occurring, which is why there is a lot of manipulation taking place in the markets right now in an effort to shake you guys out. Production of money is unavoidable. It's the only option for the U.S. government and other countries across the world that are currently experiencing severe financial difficulties to escape their current predicament. Now that money supply is about to explode, you will begin to realize who the real market manipulators are. The Fed itself is the real entity, not BlackRock or anybody else. There are a lot of reasons why I want to abolish the Fed, but once we get to the heart of the issue and what you can do about it, we'll go into more detail about that later in this video. In order for the entire XRP army to watch this crucial video, please hit the like button. Then, let's begin, either for inflation or jobs. In order to maintain the U.S. Treasury, the U.S. government, and the U.S. empire, they are lowering interest rates. You are all the price of that survival. I will reiterate that you're listening to this podcast is the price they paid to survive. The sacrifice and cost of maintaining this empire are your life, the possessions you can obtain, the family you desire, and the home you envision. Therefore, consider how this tirade is framed as one of survival, comprehending the objective that the authorities are attempting to accomplish and who they are using shortcuts to reach their destination. I refer to the liquidity machine as the first chapter for us. Everyone was saying Jack, Jack, Jack before the concert started. I had assumed that Bitcoin would only increase. For the record, Bitcoin is down 2.5%. Please calm down. In the big picture, 2.5% is nothing. However, I wanted to draw attention to the fact that, in my opinion,